Tonight, in our coverage, Iranian foreign minister counters Trump's proposal to remove Palestinians from Gaza with a call to expel Israelis. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Elia Batul. A public inquiry into foreign election interference in Canada has found no evidence of parliamentarians collaborating with hostile states or owing their positions to foreign entities. Commissioner Mary Josie Hogue's final report released today notes some attempts by foreign states to influence MPs. However, the report says these efforts are marginal and largely ineffective. The National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians alleged some MPs are knowingly or unknowingly involved in interference efforts by India and China. The allegations have been partly disputed by Hogue, saying some findings are overtly definitive or inaccurate. Hogue is warning disinformation is a more significant threat to democracy than direct interference. She points to disinformation campaigns targeting Prime Minister Justin Trudeau after Canada linked India to the death of Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, though no foreign involvement has been proven. The report includes 51 recommendations, such as better intelligence sharing and updating the Canada Elections Act before the next election. It criticizes the federal government's response to foreign interference as slow, poorly coordinated, and lacking transparency. Hogue is urging improved public awareness and stronger measures. Earlier findings indicate foreign interference did not impact the government in 2019 and 2021, though it may have affected results in some ridings. The government has pledged to review the recommendations carefully. Canada and Poland have signed a nuclear energy cooperation agreement. The deal paves the way for Canadian companies to support Poland's efforts to develop nuclear power. Prime Ministers Justin Trudeau and Donald Tusk have formalized the deal with Trudeau's visit to Poland. The agreement aims at helping Poland reduce its reliance on coal and enhance energy security. This comes as Europe continues to cut energy ties with Russia following its invasion of Ukraine 3 years ago. The agreement follows a broader Canada-Poland Security and Information Pact signed earlier this month. The pact, once implemented, will facilitate collaboration in sectors like defense, aerospace, marine, and nuclear industries. Expert Development Canada has pledged up to $2 billion in financing to support Canadian suppliers in constructing Poland's first nuclear power plant. The construction is scheduled to begin next year, and the plant is expected to start producing electricity by 2033. Trudeau's visit also includes commemorating the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. The visit may mark his final international trip as Prime Minister before a new Liberal leader is chosen on March 9th. The Canada Border Services Agency has announced the closure of the Pacific Crest Trail border entry. The trail spans 4,265 kilometers from Mexico to Canada. It includes a 13-kilometer stretch in Canada's Manning Park, British Columbia. Previously, hikers could apply for a permit to cross into Canada via the trail. Now, they must enter through designated border crossings, aligning with U.S. border rules. The nearest crossings, Abbots Ford and Osoyoos, are approximately 100 kilometers from the trail, making the final Canadian section difficult to access. Vern Schramm, manager of Manning Park Resort, says the change adds logistical challenges for hikers completing the journey. Schramm fears fewer hikers will finish the Canadian section due to the added complexity. The Pacific Crest Trail Association calls the decision disappointing, but is urging hikers to respect the rules. The Canada Border Services Agency is not linking to move U.S. border concerns. Recent pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump to secure Canada's border has heightened attention on cross-border policies. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has dismissed U.S. President Donald Trump's controversial proposal to remove Palestinians from Gaza. Instead, he is proposing a counter-suggestion. In an interview with Sky News, Araghchi says instead of Palestinians, try to expel Israelis. He says, take Israelis to Greenland so they can kill two birds with one stone. Araghchi says regional resistance groups like Hamas and Hezbollah are rebuilding despite challenges. He calls their enduring presence a school of thought, an idea, a cause, an ideal that will always be there. Araghchi has also issued a stern warning against any potential US or Israeli attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. He says any attack on Iranian nuclear facilities would be met with an immediate and decisive response. However, he says he does not think that the US or Israel will engage with what he calls a crazy thing. The comments come amid heightened tensions following Trump's re-election and his call for renegotiating a nuclear agreement. Israeli attacks have killed 2 Palestinians, including a 5-year-old girl in Gaza, despite a ceasefire agreement. 3 have been injured. The casualties come following army shelling at a horse cart yesterday in the Nuseirat refugee camp. In a separate incident, a Palestinian man has been killed and several people wounded. The incident occurred after Israeli forces bombed a bulldozer attempting to remove a vehicle stuck in Nuseirat. Since the start of the ceasefire on January 19th, more than 300,000 Palestinians have returned to northern Gaza. The region has been reduced to rubble due to incessant attacks in the past 15 months. Economist Maher Tiba reports over 80% of Gaza's industrial and commercial infrastructure has been destroyed, severely impacting livelihoods. The Israeli military continues its presence along the Philadelphia corridor near Rafah. It has declared areas within 700 meters of the border a red zone. Rafah's mayor Ahmed al-Sufi calls the situation extremely dangerous for civilians, even outside restricted areas. In the West Bank, the military has intensified operations in Tulkaram. They are forcibly evacuating families, besieging a hospital, and blocking ambulances. United Nations experts are warning of escalating Israeli repression in the area. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 47,317 Palestinians in the 15 months of war. More than 111,000 have been injured. The International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its war on the enclave. Israel has announced that 8 of the 33 Israeli captives listed for release under the Gaza ceasefire agreement are dead. Government spokesman David Mencer says Hamas has provided this information, confirming that the remaining 25 are alive. The families of those affected have been informed, though the names of the deceased have not been disclosed. The next release of prisoners is scheduled for Thursday, followed by another on Saturday. Approximately 90 captives are still being held by Hamas. Under the ceasefire agreement, 33 captives held in Gaza will be exchanged for nearly 1,900 Palestinian prisoners. 7 Israeli women and 290 Palestinian detainees have been released. 2 Israeli women, Erbil Yahud and Agam Berger, along with a third unidentified prisoner, are set for release on Thursday. The International Criminal Court prosecutor Karim Khan has announced plans to seek arrest warrants for individuals accused of atrocities in Sudan's West Darfur. Speaking at the United Nations, Khan describes ongoing crimes, including ethnic cleansing and gender-based violence, as a weapon of war. Sudan has been in conflict since April 2023, with battles between military and paramilitary forces spreading across the country, including Darfur. The region is infamous for the Janjaweed militia's genocide 2 decades ago. It is again witnessing similar atrocities, with thousands killed and hundreds of thousands displaced. Khan says evidence links this current violence to the same groups and patterns seen in 2003. He also notes reports of rampant gender crimes, which he says are a priority for the court. Human Rights Watch earlier accused the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces of brutal attacks in West Darfur. Khan is urging all parties to adhere to international humanitarian law and promise swift action on warrants. He says there is an immediate need to end Darfur's cycle of suffering. Khan describes the region's current state as a landscape of destruction. A recent report by Justice for All, a not-for-profit advocacy group and sister organization of Muslim Network TV, highlights the growth and contributions of Canada's Muslim community, while addressing the challenges they face. The 2021 census shows Muslim population has risen to 1.77 million. This accounts for 4.9% of Canada's population, up from 3.2% in 2011. Most Muslims live in urban centers, with 53% residing in Ontario. Internal migration is diversifying settlement patterns, and the population in the Canadian North has grown by 38.3% since 2011. The report notes that 63.1% of Canadian Muslims are immigrants, with origins in South Asia, the Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Muslims are highly educated, with 60% holding post-secondary qualifications, but face a 13.9% unemployment rate and underemployment. Only 62% of Canadian-born Muslim professionals work in their fields. Wage gaps, hiring biases, and housing discrimination further contribute to economic struggles. Despite these challenges, economic contributions, particularly in the halal industry, are growing. The Canadian halal food market was valued at $10.39 billion in 2022 and is projected to reach $18.34 billion in 2032. There are 755 mosques across Canada, with over 100 in Toronto alone. The report emphasizes systemic challenges such as Islamophobia, economic precarity, and underrepresentation in politics. It calls for targeted policies to address disparities and promote equity and inclusion for Canada's growing Muslim population. Volunteer-run charity iCare Peterborough witnessing surging demand as families grapple with the cost of living crisis. The charity is located inside the Khatija Mosque. Founder Akil Khalil says since the charity's launch in 2001, it has supported 60,000 individuals with meals, clothing, baby items, and more. The charity provided 2,800 hot meals last year. It also arranged 1,550 food parcels and provided essential supplies to over 20,000 people. Khalil says rising economic challenges have reduced the stigma around seeking help. The charity is part of the United Kingdom's Islamic Mission. It operates as a food bank, community kitchen, and weekly hub in partnership with the City Council. Volunteers also deliver essentials to those unable to access support. Khalil says he is proud of the impactful work of the volunteers. He is calling for further community support to meet growing needs. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News Canada. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV.